Yeah. Yeah. Maybe just keep trying. Oh,
Yeah.
there we
Oh, yay!
go.
We
I
did it!
was gonna serenade everybody until you came on my little keyboard.
Woo! You look so nice, Michelle.
Thank you so much. We're not
Yes.
live, right?
We are live.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yes, I was so worried because I had to get a do, and I'm going natural, so you know.
It's great. And hi, Lauren.
Hi,
I
Brandy. You both look great.
appreciate
And it's great to be here. And everybody, welcome to our chat today. We're so happy to have you. We are talking about a very, very special event coming up at Carnegie Hall on Friday, May 16th. And I'm here with, as many of you know, Sita Michelle Coltrane, Alice's very special daughter,
it.
Brandy Younger, harpist and gadabout extraordinaire. So let's just get right into it.
Also Grammy nominated.
Oh,
Gotta put that in there.
Grammy nominated. I did bring the Carnegie Hall album since we're talking
Oh,
about the Carnegie Hall concert today, and plugging my liner notes that I did write for this. But we'll
that's
get
right.
to that in a
Also,
little bit.
Grammy nominated person on
Yep.
board.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Um, so we are in the midst of what I'm thinking of as the deluxe extended version of the Year of Alice. Um, it was an initiative started last year by the Coltrane family and the John and Alice Coltrane Home, an organization of which you are both on the board. Um, to try to shed light on Alice's immense life and work. We've had museum exhibits, we've had ballets, we've had recordings, we've had publications like this catalog and this book, Monument Eternal, which is a chronicle of Alice's spiritual journey that she wrote during a very important time in her life. And of course, we have live music, and that's where the two of you come in. We've had concerts all over the country in Canada, Detroit, LA, Seattle, and now this concert at Carnegie Hall, Friday, May 16th, 2025 at 8 p.m. And it's for a great cause, which is to help generate proceeds to restore the very important childhood home of Michelle, the John and Alice Coltrane home in Dix Hills, Long Island. So that's just setting the stage. It's an honor to be here with both of you. Michelle, we just caught up in Los Angeles at the Hammer Museum. Um, for those who don't know, Michelle is the artistic director and longtime board member at the John and Alice Coltrane Home Project, and one of the most powerful forces in speaking to her mother's amazing legacy in interviews, in her own oral history program devoted to her mother. She's also a very accomplished and wonderful singer, a DJ. So, Michelle, an honor to be here with you today.
Thank you,
And
Lauren. I don't want to let us get too far without saying that Brandy is definite.
oh, Michelle,
She's going too. She's going. She's saying a lot. Michelle, I think
Michelle,
I
I
think you
can't hear
pressed
you.
mute.
Huh? You can hear me?
No.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yes, now
Now
we
we
can hear
can.
you.
Maybe I had the bottom sitting on the music stand covering the.
You're
How's that?
perfect now. You're back. You're back.
Hold it. I gotta hold it then a little bit. Okay.
It looked
So
like you were in the middle of complimenting Brandy.
good. That's good. I said the oral history. It definitely is. It's became what it is, it's grown, but due in part to Brandy having the instrument that my mother played, uh, and the 11 harp I think is the number. But Brandy also speaks and plays some. There it is. some of the music with the oral history. So I think it's been a great, yeah, let's hear some.
No, no.
And yeah, with Ross, Kathleen, we were a little team and we got busy, and the oral histories I think have been pretty successful.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
they're awesome. Like no one can tell that story on earth but you. Your brothers can't tell the story, you know?
I was a little bit older.
I love it. So tell me a little bit more about the oral history program, Michelle, and sort of, what you've been doing. You've been presenting this, as I understand, in some universities, sharing your personal story, interviewing others. How has the oral history program unfolded?
Where did we start? First, I was asked by Patricia Perez, who is an alto player and actually the wife of Danilo Perez, and they put on a big festival in Panama every year. And I met her, and she said, I want to do this interconnected spirituality symposium, and I'd like to invite you. So I said, okay, let me begin in trying to kind of tell a story. And seemed like everyone enjoyed it, but then we just kept building on it. And when Brandy was available, we were happy that she was glad to get on board. She's a great speaker and she's a great musician, and it just kind of breaks up the talking. Some people love that, you know, long TED Talk thing, but with her and the music, and then with her and I telling stories, sometimes we tell stories that are, oh no, I didn't know that. You did? I didn't know that. And I think the audience really engages with it really well. We did the Chicago Museum of Arts. We've done University of Michigan. We did it here at the Hammer, where I live in LA, at the Hammer Museum, and I think they have been well received. Right, Brandy?
For sure. And they kind of keep getting better and better each one. The first one I did with you was at the library.
Oh, I missed one.
The
Well,
the
that's
library out
in
by your
Huntington.
old home.
Right, that's right.
Amazing. Um, to turn it back just real quick to the concert that's coming up, Michelle, I know that you're going to be leading the singers, and I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your relationship to this group of musicians and just kind of set the stage there for what people might be hearing at
Okay, my mother moved us from Long Island, New York to California. She ended up buying a piece of property, 40 acres. We had to do the mule joke a lot because it didn't come with one. And it was a former campground. And so it had an industrial kitchen and kind of spaces like that and dorms. And she acquired the property in maybe the early 80s. I want to not say the wrong thing, but it was there for at least 30 years. So a lot of the people, matter of fact, half of the people saw me growing up. Matter of fact, I got to go back a little further. The ashram started in the house that I live in. So I'm thinking I was 16. So the journey with the group of students and initiates has been a very long time. So when people were going to Sunday school, we were going to the ashram, and Pajamana Radha Krishna Jaya Bolo. Everybody had to sing. And my mom would look at us and she'd prompt it on the organ, and then we would lead the songs because it's call and answer, a lot of it. And that was the beginnings all the way up until she left the earth. There were Sunday services there. There were um, um, discourses on Wednesday, classes for children, etc. So the relationship is people that know the music, not all professional singers, but when you get a church, once you get, what do you say, Brandy, 15, 20, there's no wrong notes in there, it's just kind of just works. So that's what we will be presenting at Carnegie Hall. And I'm so sorry about the phone. So we would be doing a song that hasn't been released on recording. It's called Abun, and also called The Universe, and it has Aramaic and Sanskrit and English in the song, and it's going to be accompanied with the orchestra and two other pieces.
So beautiful. I can't wait to hear this. And Brandy, I assume you're going to be playing the beautiful Lion and Healy harp that's behind you, the harp that was given to Alice by John. I understand you've been playing that harp for how long have you been playing that? I guess it's recently been restored. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about it.
So we pried it from Michelle, and Michelle shipped it to Chicago to Lion and Healy to get restored. It got a new neck. This is the neck, a new base frame, and we touched up some of the gold gilding. So the official debut post restoration was technically the Detroit Jazz Festival. That was just this past Labor Day weekend. But I did play it once before. Michelle, remember I played it some years ago for that concert we did at a warehouse of all of Alice Coltrane's music? I came to your house. Remember?
And you played it in the condition that it was,
That it
which was
was.
still playable, just
It was
not tip top.
It was, yes. I mean, it was playable. I remember that day very well because I was like, oh my gosh, wrote a whole article about it. But that was the first time I played it. But since the restoration, the Detroit Jazz Festival was really the time. And so we had it shipped from Detroit here, and I actually recorded my album on it. So this album that's coming out next month was recorded here on this harp. And the film at the Hammer Museum exhibition, that was all featuring this harp. It's really special. Of course, it's really special.
Okay, let's
I'm so
plug your
glad that
album.
did you hear it? Lauren was there.
Yes, I
Brandy.
did.
I mean, I know your ability to play. I know how great you are, but without anybody else on the stage, it was another vibe. We could hear all the little, every note, every small, what's the word I'm trying to say? Uh,
Every little
the
nuance.
That's the word. Where you those get drowned in a club or with other instruments, you don't get to hear them. You don't need anybody. It was really touching. I thought about it long after seeing it on that big screen. So that's some video for you.
Yeah, that was really special. We filmed that in Woodstock, and it was around like a 360 mirror. So
Mm,
I think the mirror was spinning around me as I was playing. It was really, really like otherworldly. Um,
awesome. Just awesome.
Amazing. Um, I feel like Brandy, you're like an honorary family member at this
I
point.
said that.
You said that. I mean, it seems
Maybe not to you, but I when I say Brandy's going to be there, I'm like, I'm with my family, and that means
that
Brandy
means
too.
Brandy too, right? And that's part of what's so special about the show coming up at Carnegie Hall is that it is a family affair. We know how important family was to Alice. There'll be Michelle leading the singers. We have your brother Ravi performing. We have Stephen
Flying
Ellison,
Lotus.
Flying Lotus, your Aunt Marilyn's grandson. And yeah, maybe Michelle I'd love to hear you reflect a little bit about what it means to be coming to this stage that was so important to your mother with your family. I know that your mom performed there, I think 6 or 7 times in her lifetime. And so what does it mean to be returning to this space that was so special to her with your family in her
Absolutely
honor?
perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's a full circle moment for the harp. I stood on that stage with my mother and a violinist named John Blair, and that's my first instrument. My mom, this is how she would do. He was standing in the wings, like, come to me, you know, and that was my first time, improvising in front of an audience. It's funny, I didn't even see the audience. I just saw her, and I watched John Blair when he did his solo, and he tore all of the strings off of his bow, and so I had to give him my bow. But I gotta, my mother would say about improvising, she'd say, think, because we take lessons in school, and there's a rudimentary way that you learn how to, play an instrument, but I'm gonna definitely see it with my adult eyes this time. I'd love to be in the audience, and I'm happy that I get to be a part of the performance. But yes, a full circle
Mm,
moment.
that's so beautiful. And Brandy, from what I understand, the rehearsals are already underway for this material. There's going to be some new world premiere arrangements.
Mm.
What can we expect that you can reveal at this point?
Well, nothing's a secret. It's ever developing. But yeah, there was a first rehearsal just this week that I was just listening to the recordings of with the orchestra. Um, and the conductors here. So it was really special to have everyone that's playing in the group. And by the way, the orchestra is not a pickup orchestra. Everyone was handpicked. And
Mm.
everyone in the orchestra shares this affinity with Alice Coltrane's music.
Mm.
And so talking about a family affair, I think almost everyone in the group, they've played her music. They've been a part of these tributes. I know some of the players have done tributes with me. So it truly is a family affair. There will be different configurations of music. There will be some music with the band. There will be some music with the band and the orchestra. So it'll be like a build-up. And I think we've got Alice Coltrane's, these are her string arrangements.
Wow.
She wrote a lot of the string arrangements herself. That was just another talent to add on to the others
I
that
know.
she.
And Michelle, we were just at the Library of Congress in April and saw of her some of this
Handwriting.
music. Yes.
Oh, she would before the copyist or whatever, she had the big yellow paper, but the extra size one, Randy, like
The legal?
the big ones,
Oh, like
and
orchestra music paper.
we would copy the little balls, the ball part of the note, and to help her, and then she would put on the sticks, when we were kids, so,
Oh,
we were, and then, yeah, so, me and my girlfriend Pam, would do it because we were older. And, of course it was in pen or marker. So we had to
right.
be really careful, and she had lovely handwriting. That's another thing. And she could do fine art, like paint. She used, chalk, and I saw pictures of Dizzy Gillespie. I guess, the lady that sits in when she's just visiting the club and does these sketches. So that's just another thing that speaks to her lovely handwriting, the ability to write beautiful charts, because weren't they very legible?
They were
Very.
gorgeous, and we could see that she had submitted some of John's charts too, because the handwriting, the penmanship was the same.
Yeah.
Really
Wow.
beautiful.
That's incredible. Just, yeah. What else was there at the Library of Congress?
They
Like besides,
they've got so in general they have not just music, but people. I forgot what you call it. It's what you send in when you want to get your music copyrighted.
okay.
So
Mm.
you send in an original, literally, and then everyone was handwriting everything. They would send their parts in. So they've got Beethoven, they've got Mozart, they've got Alice Coltrane, John Coltrane, Duke Ellington. They've got everyone.
What good company, huh?
Yeah, and they also have letters. There was a beautiful letter from like Nina Simone to Hazel Scott. Just
Mm.
these letters and concert programs. I know I scanned a concert program because I was like, wow, we need to bring back concert programs like this.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. whole program.
Lauren, I think I cut you off when Brandy was going to talk about our album, and I didn't want the time to go by without.
Oh, yes, we must. I mean, this is the year of Alice, of course, but I think it's also the year of Brandy. Brandy,
The
you've just won
years of
the
Brandy.
years of Brandy. You've just won this incredible Doris Duke Award. Congratulations to
Thank
you.
you.
Um,
Congrats to Casa and all.
Barnhart.
right? Um, and now we have the first single off your upcoming album, which is so hot. I listened to it. I listened to it with my son this morning. And you also dropped your track list, this very literary, enticing, novelistic track list. So we're all waiting with bated breath to understand the seasons of your life as illustrated through the music. So tell us a little bit about when this album's dropping and what we should
So
expect.
the album drops June 13th, and interestingly enough, the second single, which maybe comes out next week, is a solo harp track on this harp, on this harp. And the A&R at Impulse was like, I'm thinking Wisdom Eye. I'm thinking Wisdom Eye. When she said, we need a solo track, and I was like, I don't want a solo track. I don't want a solo track. So that, which is a super, super reflective piece, will come out next week. But overall, the album really, the title of the album is really about finding joy along life's journey, because sometimes life can life and it can dip. And so the rest of the album, it actually chronicles that. One song sounds like anxiety, one song sounds romantic, so it's covering the whole spectrum.
Emotional range.
Oh yeah. And thank you, Joel. Joel Mark sent me a very sweet note about Gadabout season. Thank
Its
you.
first single is incredible.
Well, I agree. And, the parallels between your music, just to take us back to Alice for a second, I can't think of a more appropriate kind of seg because really it's all about her journey too, right? From difficulty to the light, from the shadows to the light. And it sounds like you've got some interesting stuff going on your forthcoming album too to talk about.
There's one song, sorry, New York City Sirens, that sticks out to me so much on Alice Coltrane's earliest recording, and it's I Want to See You.
Mm.
And I always get stuck there
Oh,
thinking about where she must have been emotionally when recording that particular song.
even the title, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. That one always is kind of just like, whew, it hurts just to think about it.
I agree. Um, I know we promised to keep this to 30 minutes, and I see now that we are approaching that 30 minutes. So I wanted to open it up. Does anyone have any questions? Before we get out of here, I'm going to plug the concert again. This is Cosmic Music, a concert coming up at Carnegie Hall Friday, May 16th at 8 p.m., featuring Ravi Coltrane, Flying Lotus, Brandy Younger, Michelle Coltrane, and the Sion Non Tom Devotional Ensemble. They'll be performing world premiere orchestral arrangements, all to benefit the John and Alice Coltrane Home. Um, any thoughts you want to leave us with about what you want people to take away from this concert or the year of Alice in general?
It is a divine order that she continued recording after, I think after 2000. It was early that she stopped doing recordings with labels. But as an artist, she continued her work. She continued documenting the work. And it somehow became relevant. It was becoming bootlegged. It means people wanted to hear it. Art, we can't just sell art. It's the public's demand that drives it. And it's a very good feeling to know that, to watch someone, you know, play the cards that they have. I'm going to do this devotional music. Doesn't matter if I have a commercial
Mm.
record or the norms. As Brandy had said one time, she didn't follow those. And look at where we are now. So that is just,
Mm.
it's magic. And she's a very deserving of this concert and the years
Absolutely.
forward.
It's truly magic, Michelle. And just to think about this exhibition that just happened at the Hammer, it's like, it's I feel like this is the most beautiful form of closure to this year of Alice that will continue to evolve, but to
It will.
have all of not the concerts, the oral histories, the talks, everything build into this huge exhibition that covers all the facets that she was, not just a musician, not just a spiritual leader, not just a mother, you know, and then concluding with this at Carnegie is like you said, monumental.
So beautifully put. Are there any questions from anyone here that they'd like to pose to Michelle, to Brandy?
Or to Lauren.
And I might defer back to you, Michelle, because you, as Brandy said, nobody can tell it like you, Michelle.
I know it was what Brandy said about the people that knew just her as maybe a whatever jazz musician. They weren't using the word spiritual jazz. I just figured it's something about jazz is spiritual. Uh, and then having all of her devotional work and her seva, her service to humanity. People maybe got hip to the other part of her life that they didn't know about. And the Hammer said that they had it was the biggest turnout. There were the most RSVPs for the opening. And every Sunday there was a different, a band that played on Sundays. Brandy, I think, might have been the first. We played second, but always a line, always packed. There was a lot of interest. Um,
Oh,
in her
yeah.
work. And it just closed May 4th, and it was bittersweet. And my children and I went, we dressed up, and let's take some really good pictures, you guys. And it's also what would my mother say? You have to be thankful for what you have. Be thankful for
Mm,
that. Could say cry and wish that, oh, why can't it still be there? But I got to experience it, and so did others.
so beautiful. Well, the journey continues, the history making continues. You know, let's take that energy and bring it to Carnegie Hall, to the John and Alice Coltrane Home, and just keep it pushing forward. And you two are doing such an amazing job of keeping her legacy alive. And thank you both.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you too. I was looking to see, do you see the questions?
I,
I'd hate to cheat somebody out
They're
of a question.
quite bunch. You'll have
are
to
there
put them in the
questions?
comments once it's posted.
Oh, okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you at Carnegie Hall. Don't
See
miss it.
you on the 16th.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.